folks, so that will be available to members only. I might sneak a clip out of each members only show and upload it to the main channel so that we can kind of lure people into the members, you know what I mean? But the members only show, you guys are going to pick what I talk about. So over on the Patreon, I'm going to pick what I'm EFAPing and talk about. Over for the members only show, you guys are going to ask me questions. It's going to be all the members. So if you're not yet, consider becoming a member either on Pro Wrestle Times or at Pro Wrestle Clips. Either channel, member shows will be simulcasted to both, and it's same privileges for both. Speaking of privileges, our tribal chief members. So if you're a tribal chief member on YouTube, if you're a tribal chief member on Patreon, you get shouted out on PWT Podcast. I've been away for 2 weeks on the RSS feed, and that's just because I was putting this whole new sort of schedule together. So let me shout out the tribal chiefs: Scully Vibes, Andre Adams, the God King Bob, Gilgamesh, LK, Sask Prophet, Peter JT, Chris Benoit, Jamie Earhart, Cruz Madrid, Derek Hans, Liam McBlain, Eric Galperin, Ninja Boy. Yeah, you guys all get a big dummy. Yeah. And if you guys want to get shouted out on PWT Podcast, become a tribal chief. If you guys want your chats shown on the live shows, become a member, and I try and show all the chats. And if you want to for surely guaranteed be seen and be a part of the show, the live shows, you send in a super chat or something like that. And then over on the member shows, though, it's all you guys. Like, I'm just interacting with every damn thing every member says. So make sure, I think it's like 99 cents Canadian. So you got to be crazy to get there. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the plugs. I just had to plug you guys for 5 minutes straight there. Pause. No Diddy. But I had to plug you guys for a little bit because I got a lot going on. So let me lay out the schedule. Mondays, I'm recording and dropping PWT Podcast. It'll either come out Monday in like the afternoon, evening, or it'll come out Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday, I'm recording and releasing Patreon stuff. Same thing. Will either come out that evening or the next morning. Wednesday, I'm doing the live show. Thursday, members only show. Friday, I ain't doing dick but clipping stuff for the clip channel. Saturday, live show. Sunday, I ain't doing dick. I'm going to clip stuff. However, the Saturday live show, if there's no PLE or anything like that, I might just take it off if it's Collision.
Nope.
Because I might not do one. But wherever the PLE is, let's say they're like this Saturday, for instance, Clash at the Castle, I'll be going live during the daytime to watch that with you guys, okay? Let's say the pay-per-view's on a Sunday or it's an AEW pay-per-view. I'll go live Sunday instead of Saturday. Let's say there's nothing Saturday, Sunday. I might take it off. Maybe not. You know what I mean? I might, but like, let's say there's no AEW or WWE Saturday, Sunday. Then on that Friday, let's say there's like a TNA Rebellion pay-per-view. Sometimes they do their shit on Fridays. Maybe I'll go live on Friday instead. You guys know what I mean? So the weekend will be different. And let's say there's a double header, SummerSlam's 2 nights, or there's AEW Sunday, WWE Saturday. You guys already know I'm going to hop on live probably both nights with you guys for those. So, yeah. So basically, I just wanted to lay that all out for you guys. I'm bringing you content. It's like full-time. I'm much more organized, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot better. And I got really cool guests coming. Of course, the regulars, myself and Awful, are discussing something in the works. You know, there might be new shows you guys see on the just like the PWT network, if you will. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to use this podcast to sort of touch base and let you guys know what's going on and what to expect basically moving forward as far as PWT, because things are growing, things are getting better, and I have more ideas. And yeah, things are getting bigger and brighter, and it's only up from here. Yeah. But of course, you guys know that you're the good PWT universe. So let's talk some graps, shall we? I got really no show outline. Basically, I babbled about everything on the NXT Battleground live stream last night. If you haven't yet, go and check that out. and I basically reviewed everything, but I have some aftermath. Of course, Dave's in here being dumb. I got a couple clips that I want to EFAP and react to with you guys that I thought were hilarious. And yeah, let's talk some mess about some graps. So I guess we could dive into film marks, bookmarks. So, Jacob Fatu has been trending like all day. Ricochet's been trending. And I don't know, man. There's a lot of wrestling news. It's heating up again, and it's fun for me. You guys know that. I mean, it's epic for clip farming. Let's be real. I don't know, man. I've been having a good time with it all, especially NXT Battleground. So the event, I mean, if you want my live reaction, you can listen to the live stream from last night. I think it's live show 23. You guys just look that up. It's on YouTube. And yeah, I don't know. The event left a little bit to be desired, which I don't know. The people, the boys in the back, if you will, they all had a blast, which we're gonna go through the aftermath. Sort of some clips, some TikToks, what was posted, little things people pointed out that sort of got glossed over, and they had a blast, and this was a pivotal moment for them, and this is a huge W for them. Now the fans are fickle and they're going to boo it a bit, and same with me. I rated it like a C or D. I just said it, not a C or D, pardon me, a B or C. I just felt like there was some to be it didn't quite hit the way everyone thought it was gonna, but it was also an experiment as far as the Las Vegas atmosphere and like running out of the apex. And I was saying on the live show, this is what WWE is going to show the people who are hiring for residencies, or not hiring for residencies, but you know what I mean? They're looking to make WWE a residency in Vegas. That's something Nick Khan's interested in. And it's like, this is going to be the tape they shop around. Maybe not after that show. Apparently there's, rumors that some of the talent weren't too happy. I think that could all just be dirt sheet speculation. But yeah, I just want to go over some of the, as I write down notes here. So my favorite match, I feel like, was Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez. I feel like they really stole the show. I think the triple threat was really good too. And I think, Dana Brooke and AKA Ash by Elegance showed up at the end. And we're obviously going to get more TNA invasion stuff, NXT versus TNA. And I'm all here for it, man. Like, if we get a whole pay-per-view out of this, I'm down. But let's just take a look at the boys in the back. There was some, digital exclusives, some news to break, if you will, the aftermath of NXT Battleground. Here is Shawn Michaels cooking with TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace and Sexy Red, hip hop international superstar, Sexy Red, if you will. And here's like a TikTok or a reel. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty funny.
Order up! I got 2 coming in hot.
NXT Battleground, 5 out of 5-star meals.
God damn, man, we live in the weirdest timeline. You know what I mean? Like, we got Jordynne Grace, TNA Knockouts world champion. She's hanging out with Shawn. They've already talked about it. They're like, hey, let TNA build around you. When you're done there, you come in. You know what I mean? Like, we'll make you a star. God damn, you got to think there's a talent exchange about to happen. I've been saying Natty Neidhart. It makes sense, though, because Jordynne Grace has an open challenge coming up for her title. So it makes sense that, like, Roxanne Perez, because she beat her, and Roxanne Perez wrestled in TNA before. So it makes sense that she is the one who shows up and fights Jordynne Grace, like, at that TNA show. And then Jordynne gets the win back over her. And then who knows? Maybe we see the trilogy down the line. I always bring up the trilogy, but I don't know if they really think about that too much in wrestling as immediately as I do. And that's more being a fight fan, I guess. But yeah, this is funny. It's hilarious how Shawn Michaels is like the meme that we all made of him cooking. Like, he's actually, I don't know. It's hilarious. And then someone asked him about Sexy Red, and they're like, yeah, you guys are having fun. He's like, yeah, not as much fun as it would have been 30 years ago, but that stuff's hilarious. So then we also saw Gail Kim, who famously, infamously, if you will, eliminated herself from the like the battle royal. It just took herself out and was like, fuck the WWE, I quit. And they're like, you're getting eliminated second. She's like, and but she's spoken out a lot about WWE. She's back, man, at least here at like NXT. They had Gresham, Jordan Grace's husband, in the crowd. Of course, Gail Kim. They had like a whole little TNA section. They had a bunch of UFC fighters in the crowd as well, which was awesome. And yeah, Gail Kim was there, which is, it's a new era if she's there. I saw someone tweet out, so I stole it for my show. Yeah. What? But Gail was there, dude, supporting, and like, I'm not saying, oh, Gail Kim to WWE, but like, put her in the Hall of Fame, that could happen. Is she not? She's not a Hall of Famer. She's in the TNA Hall of Fame. So yeah, put her in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's just good. This is what we need. This is healthy pro wrestling right here. This is what only WWE can do. And yeah, if AEW weren't stupid, this could be AEW. That's what's crazy, right? Like WWE's only doing this with TNA. Well, they have vested interest because of Endeavor now and all of that, but it's just like, this is what, if AEW weren't such like, we're gonna take out WWE, this could have been them. This could be their crossover as like the number 2 that like, okay, let's work together. Let's make stuff happen, Tony Khan. And that's what would have made his dream come true. But he worked himself into this like weird scenario where it's like us against them. And that's because that's how WWE used to be. But then Vince is gone, which he would have been gone regardless. So we would have seen this regardless. Like, even if they didn't sell to Endeavor and shit, and Vince and this shit all came out, what would have happened, right? Like, this shit would have came out with Vince, and then Triple H would have taken over anyway. You guys know what I mean? Like, even if Nick Khan wasn't there, like, Triple H was the next in line. We all know. So it's just, it all led to this point anyways, whether it took 5 years or 6 years or 4 years or 2 years or 10 years, we were getting here soon in the lifespan of AEW. And they just played their cards wrong, man, because even like Gail Kim mending fences. And you like to see that. You love to see that. Also, what other news is hot news, as our friend would say? So here's Forrest Griffin meeting Shawn Michaels, just two goats hanging out. You know what I mean? So for those of you unfamiliar with Forrest Griffin, he won the Ultimate Fighter #1 as a light heavyweight, and he and Stephen Bonner threw down in a fight on free Spike TV. That it's well documented as the fight was going on, and I'm one of these people who was calling my friends on the phone, freaking out back when we had corded phones, dudes. But as this fight was going on, Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, people were calling each other on the phone, going, dude, you gotta watch this. The ratings were climbing the whole time. And they literally put UFC, like Forrest Griffin is credited with saving the UFC, right? He's got a forever job. Stephen Bonner, his opponent, unfortunately, RIP. He passed away. He had a bad pill addiction and stuff. And he actually was a pro wrestler himself, Stephen Bonner. You might remember him from TNA. He had a little stint there and on the indies and stuff after his UFC career. But yeah, so Forrest Griffin and HBK meeting each other here at the Apex. And Forrest Griffin, what his job is today is he basically runs he doesn't run it, but he's like the head guy at the Performance Institute, at the UFC Performance Institute. He just sort of like lurks around there and oversees everything at the Apex and the PI. So you have him And then you have Shawn Michaels, who oversees everything at the PC at WWE, and it's just like, yes. It's just such a good moment here. So
Not much. I don't want to run down your whole career, but just
Michaels goes, I don't want to run down your whole career to you, but this is cool as shit to meet you, you know?
whole career, but just coolest thing. Just to watch. You set the bar, man.
He's just like, you set the bar, and he did, really. Forrest and Bonner really did. They set the standard of like, this is what people expect from the UFC, you know? And Griffin's just such a humble, cool guy. So that's a cool moment just to see them sort of acknowledge me. I got some new sounds on the soundboard, and I forgot the acknowledge me. So there you go. To use a classic.
Dummy, yeah.
So we got news and stuff, guys. We're just gonna talk about NXT for a bit here. Yeah, you guys can see see the top. I know you're all waiting to watch that. So well, let's talk about it right now. So this is what happened afterward. This is a little segment. Sexy Red and Lola Vice. So Booker T remembers, like, I want to see them have a twerk off, dog. And then like Medusa was like, that's disrespectful or whatever. And then people were kind of cooking Medusa. They're like, listen, dude, Sexy Red is like, that's her whole thing, is being like super ratchet, and Lola's always shaking her thing, dude. And then so here was just this thing, and then I found it funny. At Nico Extra tweeted out, he's like, NXT when my wife walks in the room, please here, I'll just leave it small, but WWE don't pull me for this. But yeah, here's just a clip. So they're just making it ratchet in the best way possible, as I tweeted out before. She's dressed like Booker T from the Harlem Heat. So Booker T manifested this happening. He said it went viral. People got triggered by it. And then Shawn Michaels is like, let's make it happen. And I don't know, I just think it's funny. And then they pull, I forget her name, I'm so sorry, the backstage announcer. They're like, you're twerking too here. I don't want to get pulled, so I'll just like fast forward it a bit. He's like, no, I don't want to do this. But everyone's having fun. This is what I mean. Like, the dirt sheets were like, some of the talent were disappointed in the backstage, the setup of the Apex. And it's like, I don't know. They all look like they're having fun. You know what I mean? We got, like, to me. So I don't know. And then we have Cope, like, which we'll get into as well, as you guys can see here. Ibu, backup Hangman. We've cooked him a few times on the show, but here's a little positivity, right? More positivity. So not only are the talent having fun, but here's the wrestling club who have been on this show before. Shout out the wrestling club. Round of applause for everything they're doing. Just getting the youth invested in pro wrestling, dude, and you can't ask for more than that. But here's the wrestling club's reaction to the women's NXT North American ladder match, and Kalani Jordan won. Now that was like my last pick. I didn't think Kalani Jordan was gonna win the North American title, the first ever, like, in the history books. I thought maybe Sol Ruka, maybe Michin would win it, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, Fallon Henley's that girl. But I kind of called it. I was like, Fallon Henley, they're not even going to put a belt on her, because they're just going to call her up and push her. Like, she could fit on the main roster right now. So I don't know. I thought maybe Sol Ruka, but nah, dude, they put it on Kalani. And I guess that's right, you know, because like, it's going to be kind of the mid-card women's title. So Sol Ruka, I think, will be probably more like NXT women's title. But anyways, let's just clip. They're freaking out. I don't know. It's just cool to see kids popping for it like this. Yo, that was sick. Yeah, when Sol Ruka hit the the soul snatcher off that ladder, that was crazy. She's the truth, dude. She's the future. Yeah, they wanted her to win big time. Yeah, wow. So I don't know. Shout out the we'll give him an air horn. Dude. Shout out the wrestling club. That's the coolest thing ever, man, that they do that in a school, you know. I wish I had that shit at my school. I got made fun of for liking wrestling when I was at school. I got called redacted for liking wrestling at school, dude. Oh man. So and we have like we have cope. We have cope from some of the fans, quote unquote, if you will, which I would love to read you guys, and we got news as well. But before we get into that, Jordan Grace, she got some color in the match, right? Some hard way, brother. And what had people were like, what happened? And what had happened was her earring. Now, I don't have the picture of that. I wish I did. I thought I bookmarked it, but this is more gruesome than that. Now, it's not like gruesome, but look at that big chunk of her ear missing. Do you see that, folks? Can you guys see my cursor? This is her ear missing, okay? And so what had happened was her ear ring got caught in Roxanne's tights, and I even think stabbed into Roxanne's leg, if I'm not mistaken. I could be making that part up, but I saw a photo of it pinched, like in Roxanne's tights, like in her leg. And Jordan got her earring ripped out, and so she tweets out, very sad to announce that after many years of unproblematic, diligent work, my ear piercings will now retire from in-ring action. And I tweeted under here, "You're a legend." And let's see what the replies were. This Nicole says, that's a huge phobia of mine. I've never gotten my ears pierced because I just know I would do this doing nothing, like just a danger to myself. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know. Ladies can relate. You don't want to rip your earrings out. So yeah, people were wondering where the color came from. If it was like, oh, did she blade? You know, we were seeing that in the chat during the live show. No, she ripped her earring out in Perez's tights. I might have said Kalani before, but I meant Roxanne Perez. So yeah, shout out Jordan Grace, man. Just doing great, tremendous work. And but we have haters, dude. People are crying. The dirt sheets are buzzing with rumors and nonsense. And Ibu of Wrestle Purists, I don't know, man. They're like, I'm cool with their posts. Like, people don't need to tweet everything. Look at WWF Counselor. I don't agree with everything this motherfucker says either. You know what I mean? But like, it's just Wrestle Purist is kind of like Ibu himself is like kind of, I don't know. You can tell he's very, you know, he wants that Will Washington job. You know what I mean? Shout out Will Washington. I'm not hating or anything. It's just he wants that piece of that pie. You know what I mean? You can tell. And so at Backup Hangman, and this dude blocked me because I laughed at him for a video came out where he's like reaching out, like Tony Khan just walks right past him, you know, and he's just always slurping Khan. And then this video, everyone's like, look, Khan just ignores Ibu and walks right past him. And I was like, dude, this is hilarious that, yeah, like, it's not like Tony Khan would walk right past me too, but it's just so funny that, you know, like, I don't know, man. It's just funny. You guys get it. So he just tweets out, Sexy Red was sent by the CIA to end black people. And it's just like, Ibu, what the fuck are you talking about? So Burying Smarks on Instagram screen cap that, shout them out, and they posted on IG, I guess, all this hate for Sexy is wild. All this dislike for a woman who's comfortable in her own skin kind of reveals certain men's insecurities. Watching oiled up men in tights is cool, but a woman twerking like rent is due is where y'all draw the line. Y'all got to leave that small town mentality in 1955 and catch up to 2024. A little booty twerk ain't never hurt nobody, you dig? Okay, so this guy's like a cool John Moxley. You dig, Scooby-Doo? No, I'm just kidding. But, and shout out Burying Smarks. But I agree, like, there's got to be sexiness in pro wrestling. Like, for a long time, we just completely abandoned that. But then it's like, these dudes are oiled up with their abs or whatever, too. Like, we can't just completely abandon the Scarlet Bordeaux's and the Valets And if everybody's shaking ass, okay, that's like, what's happening here? But it's just like, that's Lola Vice's gimmick. And then they bring Sexy Red in because they always do celebrity crossovers. WWE's did that since the beginning of fucking time, since WrestleMania 1, celebrity crossovers. So it's like, if they're going to do that spot, if you'll call it, that segment where she's going to be Ratchet and fucking Lola's going to do her little twerk thing, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it makes sense. And it's just weird to be like, she was sent by the CIA to end black people. Like, what does that even mean? Like, was he saying that about her music before? I doubt it. It's just, to him, it's just always like a wrestling thing. Which is fine. It's just, he would never make this comment about Sexy Red unless she had something to do with wrestling. I assure you. He wouldn't say this if just like her song was number one or something. Maybe he would. I mean, I don't know him, but I just think that, just a weird thing to say. And then WWF Counselor says, if being an AEW freakazoid didn't show that he really isn't about the people, this tweet definitely did. And I don't even really know what that means, to be honest. Yeah, Ibu's just the AEW stan. You know what I mean? It's fine. Let him like what he likes, but it's just not. It's just, a lot of these people are coping. So here's some more cope. AIR Gold, who got shit from Dav Boro as well. People go, oh, Phil, why do you give these guys shine? Because it's fun. Because then you know who to block. You know who to mute. You know who the disingenuous people are, and then the genuine people come on this show. Like Awful Wrestling. His name's Awful. You'd really think like, you know what I mean? He's just a complete hater, but he doesn't talk out of his ass. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to bite the bullet of just his name. And, if you really give him a chance, like he's not just sipping haterade. He's just, maybe he is a little bit. Awful's kind of a bit of a cynic, but he's an old man shaking his fist at the clouds. But either way, AIR Gold goes, Ethan Page has the same look, same attire, same logos, a shittier theme song, but WWE fans will no, his theme song is better. But WWE fans will tell you he feels like 10 times the star. He does, because he's actually on television, and that's what Unpaid Critic says. First of all, he is on television. Heavy improvement from his AEW career. Yeah, this is why. Where's All Ego been in the last year plus in AEW? So he does feel like, and no one's saying he feels like 10 times the star. We're just saying he's being given a real chance. And this is how he should be used, as like a position player who's like a gatekeeper to the world title. That's how I see Ethan Page. Like, they positioned him in the right spot. It's not about him gaining anything from NXT. It's or like, yeah, he gains from NXT. Like, I don't want to just boo on Ethan Page. I put him over tremendously, especially on the live show and that. But it's like, his job is to help get Trickmore over. That's where, and he knows that. So, but he's being given the opportunity, and he's a guy who can go from NXT to main roster tomorrow, and he could just fit in as like a dude who is like a jobber and shit, if that's what he wants. Like, if he's willing to do that. Now, like, and I don't mean like, I mean lower mid card. You know what I mean? Like jobber, like a kind of, he makes people look good. Maybe get a US title run one day, maybe not, maybe that's Ethan Page. So, and I think he understands that, and he's comfortable with that. And another guy who you got to give him an opportunity will make the most of it. So AIR Gold's just coping. Again, these people have arguments with fake people in their heads. WWE fans will still tell you, why do you care what WWE fans will tell you? Why do you care what WWE fans have to fucking say? If your show's so goddamn good, focus on that. But instead, you guys focus so much on WWE and what WWE people are going to think. Because deep down, these guys want AEW to just be the new WWE, but it can't be. And then if it does, you guys will just hate on it. Then you'll start going, oh, no, WWE's the best. Like it's just fickle clown show stuff, you know? So that's why I bring these guys up. And then you have the dirt sheets as well. So at Wrestle Purists and Fightful Select, there have been other WWE performers who saw their deals come up recently. Oh, sorry, this has nothing to do with NXT. We'll circle back to this. But at Wrestling News Co. report, WWE NXT stars unhappy with UFC Apex setup for Battleground 2024. Wow. I wonder what's up with that. So we're going to take a gander at that screen at Wrestling News Co. And this was written by Andrew Ravens. This is the early word from the show. So I don't believe any of this going into it. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. It's a quick article. WWE made its debut at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday night with NXT Battleground 2024. The show is historic as WWE NXT champion Trick Williams versus Ethan Page headlined, marking Page's in-ring debut for the promotion, while NXT women's champion Roxanne Perez and versus TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace with the NXT women's title on the line served as the co-main event, a historic match. Kalani Jordan became the first ever blah, blah, blah. It was a much smaller venue for a PLE as it held just over 600 people. WrestleVotes is reporting that NXT superstars were unhappy with the setup at the venue due to floor spacing. The account wrote the following. So WrestleVotes says, while thankfully nothing came of it, I'm told a handful of superstars were unhappy with the floor spacing around the ring. Last night at the UFC Apex for Battleground, it was noticeably tighter than at standard WWE NXT events. NXT returns on Money in the Bank. Blah, 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 blah.
Liar!
I'm sorry.
Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
I just don't believe any of that. I'm sorry. It reportedly, this is what it is when they make these stories. They just stretch. You give people an inch, they take a mile, right, folks? So what it is somebody chickens in the chat. What it is that somebody told them, oh, wow, it was kind of weird because there was less floor space. Yeah, there was. Yeah. Oh, like a couple wrestlers or whatever did that, and then it got to WrestleVotes, and then they went, actually, people were upset about and I'm not trying to shit on WrestleVotes, but it's just that's what the sheets do. That's what the world does. It's just people get outraged over nothing, and people might even say like, well, your channel's an outrage channel. It's really not. It's just me talking about wrestling. Like, if both companies are doing great, I'm going to find shit to bitch about. I'm going to find shit to put over. My rants where I'm marking out over certain things or people do just as well as ones where I'm trashing and making fun of stuff as well, because that's for sure what happened. Like, oh, they were unhappy. Well, what does disappointed mean? Like that's what Dave Meltzer does. I just don't think that's true. I bet you they were just a little like, oh, wow, there's not as much floor space. And like, what did they expect? It's usually there's an octagon in there and a smaller one at that. So I doubt anyone was like unhappy to where it was even anything noticeable to even be discussed. Do you know what I mean? Disgusting. So in other news, and speaking of NXT, my oos and yours, Marty McFlyer than you. We love to talk Bloodline. He's Samoan. We love to, just talk about how great this story has been. And, me, I put over the Tongans, Tamatonga, Tongaloa. I put them over tremendously. And Hikuleo is expected to sign with WWE after finishing up with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, man, we were talking on the show like, yeah, I don't think Hikuleo shows up for a while, and if he does, he'll be in NXT. So this sort of ties in because I don't know, man. If it's me, I'm signing the Tonga twins as well, who just left WOW, Women of Wrestling. I believe it's called WOW. Yeah, that they were in, or Glow, one of the promotions. Sorry, my memory's jogging me right now. Foggy day. But the Tonga twins, they are two female Tongan twins, and they're a tag team, and there's a women's tag division, and you have Tamina, who may have retired, but also has a run in her. You got Nia Jax, you have Ava Rain, You got Hikuleo coming. Let's do it, man. Let's just spread this bloodline. Let's get the women involved. But Hikuleo's coming in. This is Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's younger brother. And we thought he was going to be in New Japan for a while. He had appeared in AEW a couple times. Man, so we're going to get Solo, Hikuleo, Tama, Loa, and then Jacob's going to join in with Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. That's what it is. I'll give myself an X-Files, but we were like, the truth is out there, you know, because like The Rock, when he comes back, he's going to be more involved with Cody than the Bloodline stuff, but he'll be more involved with the Bloodline stuff like down the line. Like we'll get Roman, Rock, and all of that in a bit once Roman takes control of the Bloodline again, right? But it's going to be Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Jacob, and they're going to duke it out with Solo, the GODs, and Hikuleo, right? That's what it's shaping up to be. I know people are like, well, what about Zilla? Well, then if Zilla joins in on one side, then you can put The Rock on the other side, 5 versus 5. Zilla, though, I think they want an NXT, and the reason I bring this up attached to the NXT segment is because Hikuleo, you know, he's a guy that I thought if they brought him in, he'd be in NXT. I thought like him and Zilla would be teaming in on NXT or something. So that could happen too. Like Hikuleo might not just join the main roster Bloodline, but he's like 6'9", 6'10", I want to say. He's a tall boy. And you know, if he gets on if he's eating whatever his brother's eating and gets jacked like that, he is going to be a big, you know, he's going to look crazy, and he already does look imposing. You know, he's 6'6", sorry. So I was talking shit, 6'10". Yeah, he's 6'10", 700 pounds. No, but he's 6'6", and he's like 6'6" and a half. What he is 6.66. So there you go. Shout out Satan. No, I'm just kidding. F all that, dude. Shout out Jesus. Christ saves, bruv. No, but Hikuleo is like over 6.5. He's like 6'7", all right, guys, with boots on. So I can't wait for him to show up, and whatever he does, whether they do Bloodline NXT or Bloodline, I think it'll just be main roster if I had to predict. So yeah, who knows though? It's just awesome that news broke right after Battleground. So we have another news here, speaking of deals and everything coming up, because, you know, deals are coming up on the AEW side. Deals are coming up on the WWE side as well. And Fightful Select reports there have been other WWE performers who saw their deals come up recently and have claimed to other companies that they've been on a per appearance basis. Whoa. This has got to be a work, right? Like, I feel like WWE's leaning into this because of the Brooks Jensen showing up at random shows. And then the fact that, like, we know Gable's contract's up, and then we know AJ's doing the Swerve retirement, and then we know Gable's contract's up, but he's re-signed imminently. So all the reports as well are saying Gable re-signed imminently, or is expected to sign as of like Friday. He's like already got a deal done with him or something. I think WWE's leaning into this because it drums up attention, and they know like in the future this is just going to make, right, like we get whole news cycles in real sports over trades and all of that sort of thing, and contracts, and where's this guy signing, etc. So I just think this is smart, whether they are intentionally doing this, but also it's not unheard of them to, like, you know, like even Jon Moxley, when he left WWE, he's like, his contract's up, and they go, oh yeah, like we'll book you on this European tour or what? And he's like, no, I'm done. It's not unheard of for them to go, okay, your contract's done, but let's like sign up a deal. They did it with Punk. I think they did it with Ziggler before too. Like, here, we'll sign you up on a deal, just like an extension for an extra month, so you can put this guy over or do this or whatever. So maybe that's sort of, again, like taking the inch and stretching it out to a mile like the dirt sheets do. I don't know if they're just booking like, okay, we have this storyline going on with Ricochet, and let's just book him per appearance. Like, I really doubt that's their sloppy shop and doing it that way, but Perry Pack in Minecraft. But I'm sure like Jordan Grace is getting paid per appearance and things like that, obviously. But I just don't know how much stock I'd put into this report, you know, but I definitely, it's interesting. I'm not going to sit here and call Fightful,
Liar!
because like we are in a new era. So like, I'm not shocked by any of when all this stuff comes out, you know, I'm not shocked. Like, I'm shocked when Jordan Grace shows it, but I'm not like shocked, you know, it's like, yes, what did you expect from this new era? So guys, I want to EFAP some videos with you guys. So this one should be safe on, this is from Buzz Trendy Pro Wrestling and Entertainment, Buzz Trendy News. Okay, I don't follow them, and they have, this is cool. This is a cool little tidbit. Here's Michael Jordan meeting Ric Flair for the first time, and like, it seems like they could not give a fuck. Like, Jordan couldn't give a shit to meet Ric Flair. But yeah, we're gonna EFAP some videos, and we're gonna talk about Tony Khan in just a second. But I wanted to play you guys this.
What's up, man? Scotty.
You've made this great national family. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jordan didn't care one iota about meeting Flair, and Flair standing there like a fan of Jordan, like a stan of his, you know, which is cool. I mean, it makes sense. He is the GOAT, but like, damn.
There's no doubt that Michael Jordan is the premier player in the NBA these days, but his goals are no longer team. There's no.
Yeah, dude, he just walked off from Flair. Look, hold on. He just walks away from him like nothing. He doesn't give two shits about meeting Flair. You can tell. Like, Flair's like he's meeting all the kids, then Flair has to get in and go, it's an honor.
There's no doubt that Michael Jordan is the
Is that Michael P.S. Hayes behind him too?
premier player in the NBA these days, but his goals are no longer team.
Just walks away from him. Look at Flair's face. Like he just shakes his hand quickly and then just walks away. Sorry, guys. We're just analyzing this crazy. Like,
there's no doubt that Michael Jordan is the premier player in the NBA these days, but his goals are no longer team. There's no doubt that Michael Jordan is the premier player in the NBA these days, but
he's smiling now. There's little kids there.
His goals now are no longer personally oriented. He's more team oriented these days.
Dang, man. Flair getting treated like he treated that bartender. Like, Flair's just looking at him like he just wants to meet Jordan. I don't know. Weird interaction. No, guys? I don't know, man. Weird interaction. So, Tony Khan. This is nasty. Shout out Alfred Konuwa, friend of the show. We'll be collaborating more in the future. I promise you guys. And he'll be back on this show sooner than later, too. And he tweets out, please help Tony Khan wipe his Twitter tears with the cash from his billion-dollar fortune. As a proud sicko and professional victim, Tony is not a fan of competition. WWE's predatory, competitive behavior sent the poor little guy crying to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So let's watch this video together. I bring you pro wrestling bits. And yeah, another great video from Alfred. I hope he's cool with me just playing his I'm sure he is, because it's plugging it, and we're all cool. Again, he summates it good. If you guys haven't yet, check out Pro Wrestle Times live show, episode 23 from last night. Time cop, though, it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, actually, huh? But check it out, where I rant and raved about Tony Khan and the sickos. I think the clip actually dropped on the Clip channel today as well. Time cop, though, was yesterday, huh? But just check that clip out, because I rant and raved about the whole sicko thing. And I just think it's messed up how, we hear Conrad Thompson, just to summate what I talked about before, Conrad Thompson tells Eric that, well, it's really good when there's a healthy AEW, Eric. Oh, come on now, Eric. That's not fair. That's not fair, Eric. You got to be honest that when it's a healthy AEW, it's good for the business. And might I interest you in some car insurance? Oh, come on now, Phil. That's not fair. Don't make fun of my sponsors, Phil. They'll sponsor you too. Conrad's like, when AEW's healthy, it's good for the business. And I just sat there and went, but here's the thing. Tony comes out and says, no, I do this for the sickos. And the sickos are the people who don't want a healthy business. They want everything to die. They want Tony to monopolize. They just want flips. They don't want it to transcend to the mainstream. Tony thinks just putting on great matches with false finishes and wrestling moves will transcend to the mainstream. Like, that's what Tony Khan wants, right? And that's what they all think. They think that, and even Daniel Bryan just said it. I talked about it on the live show. I quoted him and he said it like, oh, what's cool about AEW is that if people come and watch AEW and see the wrestling, then they'll be hooked to wrestling who aren't wrestling fans. And it's like, nope. That's not how it works, dude. That's not how it works. Like, no, you got to do what WWE does. So it's like, do you guys want to be mainstream or do you want to be underground? A healthy AEW, well, according to the AEW fans, right? So what constitutes AEW being healthy? Oh, they're selling a lot of tickets. Okay, well, the fans say ticket sales don't matter, and fuck you if you talk about ticket sales. What constitutes a healthy business? Oh, if AEW gets good TV ratings, well, they're fucking fans, and them, they all talk about how the TV ratings matter all the time, the fast nationals and the demographic, but then the fans go, nah, we don't. The sickos, the sycophants, they go like, fuck you if you imagine analyzing the ratings. Imagine the ratings. Meanwhile, they're timing the wrestling matches compared to the wrestling matches on the wrestling show. And these are the people who go, no, fuck the ratings, fuck the attendance. So healthy as in what, Conrad Thompson? Love you, bud, but like healthy as in what makes AEW healthy? Or like, why? What is good if AEW's healthy? All it does is it's just Tony Khan giving money away. Do you guys get it? Like, I want AEW to succeed. You guys already know that. I watch it all the fucking time. I want every pro wrestling. I want TNA to blow up and start selling out big ass fucking buildings too. My whole thing is this. The fans, the sickos that Tony Khan comes out and goes, nope, I'm a sicko and I love the sickos. Those are the people who are saying, well, no, we don't care if AEW's healthy. Fuck AEW. Like, fuck the attendance. Fuck the ratings. Imagine watching it and care about the ratings. Fuck this wrestler who doesn't want to work here anymore. This wrestler sucked because they went to WWE after their contract was up. This wrestler sucked because they spoke out of their time AEW. So, Conrad, if healthy AEW means like more of those people, that's not healthy. Those are sickos. Tony admits that. He wants the sickos. We're not ostracizing anybody, but this is what we mean. Like, these are the people who complain about the what chant when the what chant is okay, because these are the same assholes who think it's funny to throw beach balls around. Right? Like, that's what AEW did. It siphoned off all those assholes who would hijack shows and not in the fun, good way. You know what I mean? The sickos. And Tony Khan comes out and goes, no, that's who I book for. That's who I want. So I just said, fuck it, man. He's destined to, it's just not big boy time anymore. Like, I don't even take it seriously anymore. I really, truly don't. They just TNA'd themselves. Tony Khan just Brendan Schaub'd himself. Joe Matarese themselves. Opie from Opie and Anthony himself, like, that's what he did. Anthony Cumia'd himself, even, if you will. Like, from the same, like, that's the route Tony Khan chose to take. Alfred Konuwa sort of sums it up. Now, that's a brief version of my rant that I went on, my 20-minute rant from the other day, where I was much more upset and fresh-minded and just ranting and raving, but I cut a much more visceral promo. But yeah, it's Tony just comes out and says it. Like, he just said it. The people I want are the people who don't pay for shit, who bought, who engagement farm disingenuously, who only, blow me, who don't actually buy merch, who don't actually buy the pay-per-views, who are illegally streaming this shit, the people who are attacking fans, attacking wrestlers, shitting on everyone. Those are the people that I want. That's the people I want. Not the casual audiences and the mainstream, whatever. I don't actually care about that. I want Will Ospreay, because here's the thing. The sickos who just want great matches, they don't need to be on TNT to have great matches. Like, doesn't need to be an AEW. Like, you could go see all these matches in New Japan. You could go see them all wherever. So AEW is good for one thing: getting legends paid, getting ex-WWE people paid, letting them have their creative freedom to put on their whatever matches that they want to live out. Tony Khan just playing with his toys. That's cool. It's totally fine. But yeah, I just totally have given up, like, even trying to, you know, if people want to push me into a corner and say, you're just a hater now, I guess I'm just a hater. Like, I can't even, it's been a long time, but like, I try my best, you know, but it's like, yeah, it's just a joke at this point. Like, the owner he just doesn't care. And he admits that. Sorry, I've taken forever to get to this point, but here's Alfred Konuwa's 11-minute video on this, and shout out Pro Wrestling Bits.
Tony Khan is a victim. WWE is exercising predatory business practices, and all Khan can do is pray. AEW's
emotional damage.
Poor billionaire president is the the beneficiary of multiple businesses that his daddy gave him like a Christmas gift with a tax write-off. But Tony also works very hard to keep them alive. Get it how you live. Tony Khan is an executive.
Get it how you live. I love that he throws that in.
Of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been to as many Super Bowls as I have. Khan is a beneficiary of Fulham FC, which has won as many Premier League titles as I have. But they did win the EFL title in 2022, which is a championship you win when you get relegated for not being good enough to play in the Premier League, like the ROH title of soccer. Yay, Fulham. Crybaby Khan, most famously, is the president and CEO of AEW, which is now...
Yo, Alfred's mad as shit at them. No, he's not mad. He just makes light of it. He's a comedian, but it's just, you know, they revoked his shit, and he's like, all right, I'm not holding back anymore, you know?
Struggling in viewership and attendance after WWE's rise extinguished their honeymoon period. But instead of making his products better, maybe telling more compelling stories or building more relatable characters, Crybaby Khan is maxing out his victim card and finding...
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you guys see that? If you're just listening to the show, a meme comes up in this video where it's MJF during his return where he's cosplaying Triple H, and then it shows it's and he's like super uber faux tanned, and it's him, and then next to it is like the caption says, "Can't believe MJF came back representing so many eras of Triple H at once," and it's Triple H's return with his jean jacket, and then it's Triple H when he did blackface as The Rock when it was DX feuding the Nation. And oh my God, that is hilarious, dude. Oh my goodness. Wow. I didn't even think of that. That is that's all. AEW is like a parody of wrestling, dude. If you watch it as like a parody of wrestling, someone told me that a long time ago. I think it was someone in the chat. When you think about it, man, that really makes sense. You know, look at this. Like, you can't make this up. I pray, was he this tanned? Like, I don't know. He's very dark here. I don't know if someone photoshopped that or not, but jeepers, man. That is funny.
Every bullshit excuse under the sun as to why AEW is struggling. Stooge reporters like stuttering sling blade Dave Meltzer have enabled Khan's victim mentality by writing convoluted reports about WWE leaking ratings to handsome reporters. Ooh, so predatory. Oh, the huge
to handsome reporters. So when Tony Khan came out and was like, "Oh, the Fast Nationals and WWE's leaking them out to whatever," he's talking about Alfred. So when Tony Khan's melting down as of late, he's talking about Alfred Konuwa, right? Who I'm going to have back on the show to talk about this. Another shot at Alfred. There's a storm a brewing. But yeah, you know, that's why we're chronicling these videos. I know some people who listen to PWT Pod are like, "Oh, Alfred is annoying or erase." I know people always say, "I don't care. I enjoy him." And it's all about the vibe. It's all about this journey I'm taking you on. Okay. It's like the Bloodline story. Every little thing I show you guys matters. Okay. So here's Tony Khan is taking shots at Alfred with all of these meltdowns as of late.
Humanity. Seriously, I leaked Fast Nationals this one time, and the leak became so flammable, it burned the whole wrestling promotion to the ground. Because Fast Nationals are so predatory and dangerous. Today, we're going to talk about Tony Khan's history of playing the victim, why this is hurting AEW, and we're also going to rank the real top 5 predatory business practices in wrestling, because these tactics from WWE in 2024 is a light pack compared to some of their most savage moves against other promotions. Subscribe in Swahili or I'll start sobbing in a subtweet. Tony Khan
Go and subscribe to Pro Wrestling Bits.
loves being the victim so much, he begged Elon Musk to save him from anti-AEW Twitter bots.
So Tony Khan put out a tweet saying an independent study has confirmed that much of the staunch anti-AEW online community aren't real individuals. It's a staff running thousands of accounts plus an army of bots to signal boost them. Look closely. These aren't real people who'd pay for such a wildly expensive thing. You, Tony, because you got caught doing it. So did the Observer.
Whines every time the Fast Nationals leak early. He pisses and moans when WWE...
So Dave Meltzer tweets out, and this is what, why Alfred's going so hard, because Tony's taking shots at him. So Meltzer deleted this because his ass will get sued. This is libel, brother. That's illegal, brother. To quote Adam Sandler, that's a crime, bro. That's assault, brother. No, but Meltzer deleted this after Tony Khan quote tweeted this. Why? Because fucking pro wrestling Alfred will get on that ass and WWE get on this ass. You can't just pause, no diddy, but you can't just talk about that. You can't just say these things and make these assumptions, coping over fucking TV ratings. So Meltzer tweets out, we covered this on the show. I'm just going to read it quickly for those listening. Sorry, but the ratings I listed were accurate. This is in response to someone saying, Dave, you didn't report accurate numbers or whatever. Sorry, but the ratings I listed were accurate. The others were not. They were supplied by WWE to the reporter. Sorry for people mad because everything I stated was correct. And this is not a new story. It's a story that dates back many years and has been talked about and blah, 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 blah. Tony Khan quote tweets it and said, these are the same predatory business practices that Jim Crockett Promotions and many former wrestling territories faced in the 1980s. I'm very grateful to all of you wrestling fans who watch AEW, and AEW is here to stay. See you tonight on TNT Drama. Just cope. Absolute cope. 5K people like this. Man, it's a sick, weird cult. And then, Meltzer deleted that tweet. So he was capping, talking out his ass because Dave Meltzer is
Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
Early. He pisses and moans when WWE goes head-to-head with AEW. These are symptoms.
Look at bald asshole. We covered it on the show as well, right? Tony Khan tweeted that out. Bald asshole. See you tonight.
Getting everything he wants from a rich baby daddy. And now that his competition is competing, he runs and cries to the Wrestling Observer snooze letter. Tell me, when Fulham got their asses relegated, or when the Jacksonville Jaguars were the worst team in the NFL for 3 years in a row, not too long ago, did Tony Khan blame the media for leaking TV ratings then? I'm truly honored to be included in the predatory business practices conversation by way of my world-famous Fast Nationals. Shit, I might have a shot to fuck around and win the coveted most disgusting promotional tactic award. Let's fucking go! But humbly, I have nothing to do with AEW's downfall. No, sir. If the Wrestling Wars were a boxing match, leaking Fast Nationals would be like an opponent refusing to touch gloves. Here are some real predatory practices in wrestling history, starting with some honorable mentions like Black Saturday in 1984. Get you a
shout out Dark Side of the Ring.
Free trial of Friendly TV and check it out on Dark Side of the Ring. Another honorable...
Are you kidding me? Look at this guy with his ads, bro. Where Alfred, help a brother out. Well, I need some ads. Oh, come on now. You mean plugging these? Oh, come on now, Phil. You mean plugging these razors that don't sponsor you, don't get you know what I mean, dude? We need some plugs here, dude. I won't plug you guys to death, but I can plug you once. You guys can handle that. You know what I mean?
Mention goes to Vince McMahon for convincing
cheddar. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. Come on, PWT.
Hulk Hogan in no-show a sold-out AWA Christmas show, which all but killed the territory. Merry Christmas, Vern. Medusa once dropped the WWE Women's Championship in a WCW trash can. You know who really bangs a set out there is NXT. Like when they loaded up a head-to-head show against AEW Dynamite last year with John Cena, Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes, and The Undertaker, among many other main roster stars. And yes,
Cody Rhodes is going to be on NXT next week.
Tony Khan cried about that too.
Or this week, sorry.
Infamous bald asshole tweet. But still, that really wasn't all that predatory. It's just competition. Maybe that's why Tony Khan gets so bent out of shape on the Bird app, because all the franchises he owns are losers who don't win anything. So they know nothing about real competition. TK's Twitter tantrums speak to a bigger problem of a career loser who is out of his element when in competition. The number 5 most predatory business practice in wrestling is the NWO. And I mean early NWO, when Hall and Nash came to the company and heavily implied they were hired goons from WWE. This led to a whole lawsuit from Titan Towers, which WWE won, by the way, and Hall and Nash were forced to go by their real names and acknowledge on camera they did not work for WWE. Number 4 is WWE's billionaire Ted skits. In retaliation,
And I get mad when people like shit on Eric Bischoff too. It's like, dude, oh, come on now, Eric. Sorry, guys, I can't stop. Eric, he tried and lost, and he put WWE on their back foot. So it's like the people who go like, oh, well, Eric messed up. Eric failed. So what does he know? It's like, you never have done you never tried anything in your life. You never taken a risk. You never bet on yourself. You never done, you have to understand, like, he tried, he put them on their back foot. He almost took WWE out. He almost bankrupted them, dude, in just like 5, 6 short years. You know, if you can't see how doing that and then losing, like if Bischoff had hindsight and could go back and do it again with the knowledge he has now, do you not think he would be more successful or do it better than he did the first time? Like, of course, dude, of course. Like, it's not like he just failed and he's bitter and wants everyone to fail. Dude, no, man. You don't think Eric Bischoff wants AEW to there to be another wrestling boomer war? Like, that would be more money for him to get into, you know? Like, do you guys think there's more money in, like, let's say there's 3 super hot wrestling companies and then there's podcasters like doing what I'm doing with 3 uber hot wrestling companies? Is that better for my bottom line, or is just hating on Tony Khan because he's shitty? Like, no one just like wants to clown on Tony Khan forever. That's like not a thing, dude. But it's just it's sort of the low hanging fruit, but he puts himself out there. He gets mad at Alfred, who's just saying numbers. He gets leaked. Alfred gets lots of shit. He writes for Forbes. He gets a lot of information that comes across his desk, if you will. Okay. So Eric Bischoff has been there and done that. To think he just is like, oh, just a bitter old podcast star. It's like, you guys, man, it's just, you know, we talk about it ad nauseum, but yeah, WCW was there and did that. They almost beat WWE. So take Eric's advice, because if he could go back in time with the knowledge he has now, he would have done even better than he did. Not saying he'd have beat Vince, but he'd have did better, because he didn't know where not to mess up and who to convince, who to keep her, you know, all of these things. He could have done Sting Hogan better, all of these sort of things. So shout out Who Killed WCW, by the way. Great show. And we're going to EFAP watch it on Patreon.
To WCW Nitro kicking their asses. WWE has rarely ever acknowledged AEW on TV, but in the 90s, an embittered Vince McMahon launched a full-fledged assault.
And when WWE did have Sami Zayn bring up AEW on TV, that was super smart. I know some people are like, oh, why would they do it? It's because they just got ahead of it. They just instantly made AEW look lower than them. Oh, what, you want to talk about AEW? What do you want to talk about? You know, like they got like a step ahead of AEW on that by making AEW seem like below them. You know, it was very smart.
On Ted Turner and WCW, mocking Hogan and Savage's age through the Huckster and the Nacho Man. Mean Gene even caught strays through the Scheme Gene character. These sketches were funny sometimes, but not intentionally. They were funny in the sense that you could just tell how bitter Vince McMahon was about losing to WCW through these skits. They were written with pure hatred, like Vince was dipping his quill pen into a vial of snake venom. Eric Bischoff even threatened.
Yeah, that's how I send messages now. Via haha, pal. Yeah, how I send messages now is via notebook and pen and ink with an eagle who flies my message. I can't send texts anymore. Yeah, the last guy who had access to my text got. Now I send messages. You want to know how I send messages? I send them via pen and ink, and a falcon who lands on my wrist and kisses my ass. Just don't read what they say. Yeah.
These skits. You want to talk about predatory? Some of the billionaire Ted bits ended with a call to action, with WWE encouraging its fan base to write letters to the Federal Trade Commission to block Ted Turner from buying Time Warner. You gotta love a carny calling another carny a carny. It's the kettle calling the pot African American. Number 3 is Eric Bischoff going on air live to give away the results of taped WWE shows. Don't remember Tony Khan having to deal with any of that insidious behavior. In the end, this move backfired on WCW when Tony Schiavone told fans not to change the channel to WWE Raw because Mick Foley was finna win the strap. The opposite happened. Fans did change the channel, and ratings skyrocketed for WWE Raw and Foley's coronation. Kind of like how Dave Meltzer and Team Tony tell people not to read the Fast Nationals, only for my Fast National tweets to get bigger every time they come out. Love you for that. It's like
exactly, man. They don't get it. They don't get it. When they go, oh, look, he's doing the Fast Nationals or lies, and then everyone goes and looks because it's like, well, why do you care so much about them? Why do you care so much about them if they're lies, dude? Like, if I just went out on Twitter and went, the sky's green, Tony Khan, you wouldn't care. So why do you give a shit? Well, it has to do with it's a lie about my business. Who gives a fuck? You revoked Alfred's access to your image thing. You don't give him interviews. So who cares? You cut him loose, let him talk shit. Right? Or else go and talk to him. Like, it's so crazy how these fucking, you have $1 billion. You won't just go talk to Alfred on the phone. You have you're giving people millions of dollars. You don't just make them sit in a room together, Punk and the Bucks, and hash it out so your business can work. It's fucking crazy, dude. How immature it's mind-boggling to me, you know?
The old don't think about the pink elephant trick. And as our channel trailer says, do not subscribe to Pro Wrestling Bits. Number 2 is WWE trying to steal Mike Goldberg from UFC in 2005. Vince McMahon reportedly offered Mike Goldberg a 6-figure bonus to no-show a UFC event and debut on WWE Raw. Goldberg missing UFC's first major show on TV at the last minute would have left the promotion with no lead commentator and could have turned UFC into the AWA on Christmas.
Also, Mike Goldberg worked for WWE first, I believe. He was one of those guys who would stand behind the little podium during the commercial breaks and go like, hey, I'm Mike Goldberg, and WWE will be coming your way in Santa Ana, and, you know, Washington, Seattle, we'll be in Tucson, and what, you know, Mike Goldberg would do that. And those guys would eventually get promoted up to like commentator sometimes or backstage guy, whatever. But then he went with the UFC.
Mike Goldberg stuck to his morals, remained with UFC, and was fired years later.
And that was way before. Yeah. And then UFC did him dirty, dude.
He go home. Good on Mike and everything. But you see where morals get you in the wrestling business. And the number 1 predatory practice in wrestling history was D-Generation X showing up to a WCW taping. It was a legendary moment just as WWE was starting to hit its stride in the Monday Night Wars. WWE made WCW out to be the uncool brand, the brand that doesn't want the smoke, and even exposed WCW for giving away free tickets. Savage, predatory. Yes, WWE is definitely screwing with AEW these days, but I have no sympathy for All Elite whining because A, that's what happens in a wrestling war, and B, it's nowhere near as direct or scandalous as predatory business practices in years past. Tony Khan has followed wrestling his whole life. He's lived through all of these vile and cold-blooded tactics that I just mentioned. And this motherfucker is appalled at the predatory business practices of WWE leaking the Fast Nationals?
Yeah, bro.
Emotional damage.
Exactly. Then dude, Alfred just brings it back to reality and goes, dude. And Tony's mad because I tweeted a fucking number that wasn't even right. And you guys talk about how no one watches cable TV anymore, so why do you care? Like, oh man, that is funny.
That's why he thinks AEW is struggling? Twitter, please. Fun fact, the AEW Rampage Fast Nationals last weekend were way up compared to the final numbers, but that didn't fit Tony Khan's narrative of the Fast Nationals.
Boom, exposed for being a clown. 2 clowns right here, because you know why? I go so hard on Tony now. I used to always be like, no, he's cool, he's cute. But it's like, no, dude, because exactly when the Fast Nationals were higher, and then he had to correct and go, actually, they were lower. You didn't cry about that, Tony. But now that they're lower, and then he goes, sorry, they're actually higher. You have a fit taking shots? Like, oh, man, please. Why are you even focused on what Alfred's doing? You get all this good press everywhere, and you're worried about, and this is what Dave's always talking about on the media, talking about one Forbes writer. You had another Forbes writer say that you guys were worth $2 billion. But because this one doesn't bow down and kiss the fucking ring, you know what I mean? Ugh, it's weird and gross. Tony McCann.
Only leaking when AEW ratings are down. But fuck all that. Preliminary ratings have nothing to do with AEW's struggles. Crybaby Khan is balling uncontrollably, uncontrollably. AEW is colder than Glacier's entrance. Tony Khan is nobody to blame but himself because he's taking full control of every aspect of the company, which has led to talent frustration. The only thing Tony Khan knows how to do is schedule good matches between great wrestlers. Anybody with a PS5 and WWE 2K can do that. Yeah. I'd call Tony Khan a bad booker, but that would give him too much credit for implying he's an actual...
Like any of us could go, oh, wouldn't it be great if this wrestler and this wrestler fought? And then you just do it in 2K. But why? Why are they fighting? That matters so much more, dude.
Booker. He's not a booker. He's a scheduler. He's Tony Timekeeper. He's a matchmaker. He's Tony Tinderfingers. All he knows how to do is make
Twitter fingers turn to Tinder fingers.
matches. And when the novelty of indie style matches wore off when Vince disappeared, AEW just hit different. They didn't have any other tricks up their sleeve.
And I pointed out on the last live show, the one thing, because AEW wasn't innovative in anything, but the one thing they were innovative in was at the start of the pandemic, they put like wrestlers in the crowd. Right? But otherwise, they're just playing catch up and copying everything else. Yeah, that's their biggest downfall as well. Like all these camera angles and shit. Like they had Kevin Dunn fucking WWE up for years doing all these weird zoom ins. And they didn't think of like, let's get drones in there. Let's do these long 1 minute shots. Like, you know, they didn't. Now they're just playing catch up on everything again. Right? They had the chance to get ahead and instead they just fumbled it.
Still don't. The harsh truth about AEW is that they're federally fucked as long as Tony Khan rules with a flaccid fist. Tony Khan thinks he's Paul Heyman, but he's Todd Gordon in this bitch. The only difference between Todd Gordon and Tony Khan is Todd Gordon had the self-awareness to realize he was Todd Gordon. So he hired a real leader with actual creativity and Hall of Fame credentials in Paul Heyman. Tony Khan cannot book wrestling. He's just not that guy.
People say like, Phil, what would you do? Like, could you book better? Well, I don't see you book better. I'm telling you right now, if I had $1 billion, if I had Tony Khan's money, yeah, I would, right? I'm telling you right now, because it wouldn't even be me doing it. It would be me hiring people. I'll tell you this right now. Would I be pitching creative? I mean, personally, yeah, I'm a writer and shit. You know what I mean? That's what I do. I'm a creative dude, first and foremost. But I'm just saying, if it was me, I would pay Cornette, Flair, Bischoff. I would have like a round table and I would lay out my like, here's my 1 to like 10-year plan. Here's my 1 year short-term plan. Here's my like 10-year long-term plan that can sort of change along the way, but we need to get here eventually is what I see in 5 to 10 years, you know? And I would even if these guys disagree, I would have them each just say, I would say all my ideas. And I would have them go, this is shit. That wouldn't work. This would work. Do this, but with this guy is going to fuck things up. Whatever. Like, it's not hard with the money you have to sit all these people down and just have them like tell you what to do. But he doesn't want that. He just wants to play his real life video game, which is like, that's cool. But that's why I like video games, dog. You know, like I book fucking on 2K2, bro. But if you actually are in charge of like this business and you're like, dude, let's actually make a change in wrestling, there was a way to do it. And as long as he's not a creative guy, that's just all it is. He's just a book smart guy, you know what I mean? Which is fine. You know what I mean? There's no he's just redoing things that he saw in the past that he thinks is cool, and it's just elementary level like, oh, isn't this awesome? Like I don't know, dude. We'll keep watching this video. But I believe though I would book better because it wouldn't be me doing it. And if I owned Ring of Honor, I would book Ring of Honor to learn how to book properly, and I just run it out of a studio, put it on YouTube for free, and then I would learn. And then if people were like, "This Ring of Honor show sucks," I would be like, "Yeah, I'm learning as I go, and that's why it's Ring of Honor, and it's a developmental for AEW." And even in the Ring of Honor, I'd have other people around me, fucking telling me what's better. Like ultimately, with the money in the pen, you can decide this is who we're going to invest in and push. But from there, it's like, exactly, like, how do you get there? How do you push them? How do you, that's where other people need to come in, Tony. It's true.
Khan isn't relatable. He grew up in a sheltered environment as the son of a billionaire. He spent most of his free time on a message board as a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like being the editor of a school newspaper and the school shooter. Khan is awkward on camera. He's not funny. He's not charming. He's not personable. Every time he talks, it feels like he's coming down from a Pepsi binge. These are all the reasons he only relates to Sling Blade Dave Meltzer, by the way. By Khan's own admission, he's a sicko. Okay, fine.
And Tony Khan tweeted out, "I book wrestling for the sickos because that's what I am and that's who I care about." Well, all right then. You don't care about me? Peace.
But I don't want Buster from Arrested Development booking All Elite Wrestling. AEW doesn't need a sicko right now. They need a scumbag, a dog, a charismatic carny and cult of personality who's fast and loose with ethics. Go hire you a George Bluth Sr. A real promoter responds to predatory business practices with carnyism of his own. He fights fire with fire. Tony Khan fights fire with Twitter. Khan needs to stop crying in Sling Blade's bosom and man up, or hire somebody who can save the directionless company so you can have more free time to cry in Sling Blade's bosom. Fucking crybaby. Cry.
Alfred is mad as shit.
Cry, baby, cry. We like to see you cry. You poo-poo in your poo-poo. You pee-pee in your pee-pee. Tony Khan will keep messing around, blaming everybody for his struggles until AEW gets relegated to Tubi TV, my boy. Accept this invite to the AEW Player Haters Ball and subscribe.
The Player Haters Ball, I was invited as an honorable mention. Air horn for Alfred Konuwa's video. Oh man, that's a great one. And I'm gonna always play pro wrestling bit stuff on the show and the live shows because he just does such a good job. And typically I'll rant about something and then he'll be doing he does a video on the thing the next week, and it's like, yes, dude, this is incredible. So Dave Meltzer was heavily featured in that video. That's because it is time which is a perfect transition. It is time for Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Dave Meltzer, let's start with David Scherer, actually. He follows up from earlier. Yesterday, we had talked about on the live show, but really 2 days ago, Time Cop, my favorite movie. We talked about how, Dave Scherer was like, okay, so someone reports something, Meltzer questions it, Sapp confirms it, the cycle goes on or whatever. He's just dissing Meltzer. He's so mad at Meltzer. So, yesterday Meltzer said tweeted out, "You'll be shocked to learn that Meltzer was wrong and Mike Johnson was correct," on a WWE scoop about Ricochet. So, Sunday update, Ricochet's leaving WWE. As first reported by Mike Johnson, it appears Ricochet is leaving WWE. Johnson reported he had given notice. We were told by someone very close to the situation that he had not given notice. So that's what Meltzer says. But he had not signed a new deal. His contract is coming due shortly. And the decision of what he was doing next was up in the air. But obviously, with Andrade winning the Speed title on Friday and with the match seemingly moved up since Andrade had also won the tournament final Friday, it would be indicated that. So Dave is just babbling. It would be indicated, but no. And then it just turns out that, Dave Scherer is like, no, dude, Sapp and everyone else confirmed this. It's confirmed that he's going, and everyone knows now Ricochet's leaving. So Dave Scherer says, as a follow-up from earlier, Uncle Dave admits as much as he can in his sad, clueless way that as usual, his one source lied to him, and he fucked up yet another attempt at breaking news. Stop wasting your time coloring your hair and start trying to do your job. So Dave Meltzer called out as
liar
once again, and he basically just got exposed once again. That's why we do this segment, and this will be a short one because I did a long one yesterday, and I only have a few headlines since yesterday. But Dave Meltzer talks about the Trick Williams-Ethan Page match at Battleground. But first, here's Meltzer's latest update on Ricochet. He's leaving most likely. It's not like official. Sunday morning. It was like up in the air, whatever. Not Tony Khan not sign the contract. WWE had been kind of, I guess, working with the idea he was, leaving. They did have ideas for him in case he stayed. They may write him out on TV this week. It's always just like they might, but they might not. It's not just like, here's what I would do if it was me, if I was writing. Like, that's what I do on this show. If I always just say, listen, I don't know, but if I was doing this, I'd do this. And if I was doing this, I'd do this. Instead of doing that, he just goes, they did have an idea. Really? You know Triple H? Do you know him? Do you call him at home? They did have ideas for him in case he stayed. They may write him out on TV this week, but I was told Sunday afternoon that he did, in fact, make his decision. But what his decision is, that I don't know. Then why talk about it, Dave? But I think most people have him leaving. I think that's the safest best of the two. I can't say 100%. Well, I don't know, but I know that I don't know, In the words that I said to Garrett the other day on this subject, he is going where he expects to be the happy.
Dummy, yeah.
And that's the narrative. Well, he's not happy in Ricochet was upset in WWE. That's the narrative Davey Schmavy Wavy's going to try and paint. And Dave Meltzer talks about Trick Williams versus Ethan Page at NXT Battlegrounds, and he buries it. Dave goes, it was fine. It was a basic professional wrestling match. It was not a pay-per-view main event match. Basically, it was like a normal television match. That's what I would call it. Trick needs a great opponent to have that caliber of a match. Ethan Page is a very good wrestler, but I mean, it was fine. It also wasn't that long, Batman. It was a lot short. It was a lot shorter than the usual main event they would do on a show like this. Usually those would be like 20 minutes, and this was like Brian, and this was 12. They just kind of went for a while. Ethan Page pretty much carried it, looked fine doing it, and then they just went right to the finish. Trick does the high knee, and then there was a distraction and gets the pin, and it was kind of like, okay, he won, Dave just burying Trick. If you guys don't see, he has this big agenda against Trick because Trick is outdrawing all of Dynamite. So that's what it is. It's not a conspiracy, okay? I'm telling you guys, this is what it is. Dave has this agenda for Ospreay. Oh, he's the game changer, trying to show that Ospreay can draw ratings, which he doesn't draw houses either. And then he's trying to diminish Trick at all turns. We're seeing it now a couple weeks in a row. He's going to lie about Trick and talk shit about him because Trick is outdrawing in the main events on NXT, in the main event segments. He's outdrawing AEW. Now, they'll play semantics. Dave wants to play, what is disappointing? Isn't that just semantics? Oh, well, disappointing is just semantics. Is it just semantics? Dave wants to play this stupid, dumb semantic game and then project it onto everyone else. But what he's doing is, or what they will do is say, well, no, because the average viewership for Dynamite was higher. But no, it's that bullshit lead-in. Tell me what leads in NXT. No one knows. Okay? So they play the game with the lead-in in the overrun, so it doesn't count. Chop the lead-in out, chop the overrun out. NXT shit climbs. AEW shit goes down drastically, and people tune out hard for certain things that you can point a finger at and go, that's not working. Let's stop doing that. For NXT, though, they peaked with higher viewers than Dynamite does, and both of the shows peaks chopping out the fucking wacky overrun goofball lead-in overrun games, just the peaks of both shows, they're tied. NXT is going to start beating them with with Trick Williams as NXT champ. And that's why Dave has
emotional damage.
And that's why he's lying, trashing Trick Williams.
Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
And that's what you guys, I want. That's your homework. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what and how he speaks about Trick. It's very telling, guys. You heard it here first on PWT Podcast. Phil Mark's the first one pointing this out. And that, folks, was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. So, guys, I want to show you this here. I will be on, so let me just quickly lay out the schedule for you guys, okay? So, once again, so Monday, I'm going to be recording and sometimes releasing on that day, but more likely Tuesday morning. So, Monday, I'm recording PWT podcast. Tuesday, I'm recording Patreon stuff. Wednesday, live show. Thursday, members only show. Friday, I ain't doing dick unless there's like a PLE or something. Saturday, live show or PLE show gets moved around depending on the PLEs. Sunday, I ain't doing dick unless there's a PLE or whatever. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday is all sort of, I'll let you guys know, right? You guys will know. Make sure you're in the Discord. That's a great way to know what's up. Make sure you're following me on X at prowrestletimes. That's a great way to know what's up. Also on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I do appear on Toonie Talk a lot on Toonie Talk TV. Toonie Talk Wrestling, though, Tuesday, tomorrow, but actually today, Time Cop, I will appear on that show as well with Marv Movie Monster, AEW Neckbeards, as you see here, everyone. Special guest Ant Evans will be on the show. Now, he's the guy. I blew the Wise Choices or 83 Weeks episode that Eric Bischoff did with this guy. Ant Evans is a YouTube monster. First off, this guy's going to be a treasure chest of a brain for me to pick. I'm going to get so much gems. I'm just going to sit back and try and ask good questions, man, because this will be a great interview tomorrow. Great joining the panel. And Ant Evans helped the UFC blow up their YouTube, which is a huge source of revenue for them, which is a huge promotional tool for them. He helped TNA blow up their YouTube, which I told you guys, PWT. See, it all ties together. It's like the bloodline. Everything I talk about matters, okay? So in the past, I said, yo, TNA switched their name back to TNA because of their YouTube traffic. That's really all it is. Algorithmically, YouTube, TNA wrestling does higher than Impact and shit, like still to this day, you know? And it's because of this guy right here, Ant Evans, who I'm going to be talking to with alongside the great panel. Of course, Awful will be there. And yeah, so I'm just going to play the trailer for the show tomorrow. Okay, that's all it was. I don't want to get pulled for for gimmick infringement on Rowdy Piper, dude. But yeah, so yeah, Toonie Talk tomorrow or today, Time Cop. I'll be there as well. And yeah, Ant Evans, man, that will be a gem. So make sure you're there to listen to that because man, I got a million questions for him. I hope I don't step on toes, but I got it. And he's knowledgeable of UFC, pro wrestling, and he went on Eric Bischoff's show and he absolutely obliterated AEW's YouTube and just explained how and why it doesn't work in ways I could explain as well too. But you got to pay me for that. I shoot in real life, get paid on the YouTube front sometimes to help with people's YouTube channels. You know what I mean? And you know, I consult people in that regard as well. And so Ant is like levels above me, 100 times above me. So it's just, I just can't wait. It's an honor and a privilege. But folks, that was a PWT podcast for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Let me shout out our tribal chiefs. Let me pull them up here. Scully Vibes, Andre Adams, the God King, Bob, Gilgamesh, LK, Sass Prophet, Peter, JT, Chris Benoit, Jamie Earhart, Cruz Madrid, Derek Hans, Liam McLean, Eric Galperin, Ninja Boy. Guys, see you in the upside down. Yeah. Peace.